You know, baritones, they're just...
It's mostly working out all right, but there's always a little glitch somewhere.
I need better internet at my house. I like our attendance this weekend, everyone.
Yes. It's heartening.
It's good to see so many folks. I like seeing your faces.
And we like seeing yours.
Yes, we love seeing yours, Queen.
We like seeing yours.
Yes, yes, and yes.
Oh, you know what?
I usually take a picture of Mary's haircut every time I see her at an international event because I have haircut envy.
I'm going to answer this phone. That's my mom. Who?
Don't worry.
Okay. Not a problem for you.
Da 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 da. Da 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 da.
Oh, come on, Heidi, it's fun.
Sing. We gotta sing.
Da 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 da.
Not feeling it.
So how's everyone doing?
As fine as can be expected,
Yeah.
We're
I know.
incarcerated, but we got a car, I feel like this is a life sentence. No possibility of parole, but I have a car.
Okay, I'm on my couch. I'm ready now. Stop.
Go.
It's just been one of those days, one of those months, one of those years.
One of
Right.
those years.
Who's going to mute Heidi for me?
Thanks for your help. So
All right.
All right, Marion, do you have anything to say? Are you here with me, or are we?
Yes,
I'm good.
I'm with you.
Oh, Marianne. Oh, yeah.
I'm supposed to introduce Mary.
I know, because people probably don't know her.
They
I
probably
mean,
don't know her. So you want me to go through it all again? Or just get to it?
I don't know. Are there some new folks in here we haven't seen before?
Anybody hasn't seen Mary yet?
Love her.
I like saying it though.
Big
Don't you
fan.
like hearing it?
I want to hear it.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so we have with us Mary Ray, and she is Master Director of OK City Chorus, Certified Sound Judge. She only has a few things on this list. International
Slouch.
Faculty, International Board of Directors, EDC, Educational Review Board, Regional Management Team, and she is a coach. She is also the baritone of the 2010 International Champion Quartet Zing. She is a physical therapist. And for my experience with Mary, she always smiles. She's always enthusiastic and one of the nicest people I have ever met.
Oh,
and there you go.
Well, thank you very much.
I
You're
agree.
welcome, my dear.
Oh, thanks.
We're
Thank
lucky
you.
to have you.
Well, this afternoon, we're going to end with talking about you. Yay! And your body and your instrument. And we talk about posture. Posture is like that bad word. And in the singing world, we've sort of evolved, and we're talking more about alignment now instead of posture, because that has such a bad connotation. And so we're gonna talk today about alignment, and mostly as it applies to how it affects breathing. So I know we've probably all heard a lot about alignment before, and I'm just going to talk about it from an anatomical perspective, since I'm a therapist. And so maybe it might speak to you a little bit differently, and the reasons why we do certain things when we're singing. And so, isn't that a cool picture?
Yes.
I sure a lot. Yeah. You can find anything on the internet. It's really fun. Okay. So yeah, posture. This is what we used to think about with posture. Who used to have to do this? Do they still do this with kids anymore? Put a book on their head and make them walk around?
Thank God, no.
Yeah. And and I just did this class last week, and then I was like, what is it that those girls are wearing? I think those are old time bathing suits. I think. Glad we
Yes.
don't have to swim in that either. Yeah.
They're all in ones.
Yeah. They forgot their clothes, just wearing their all in one. Yeah. My grandma was the one that always was a stickler about, stand up straight, stand up straight. She was the one. And nobody wants to hear that. But it does help us sing. When we do hear that stand up straight, this is what we often go to, is that military posture, that over exaggerated, and there's nothing about this that indicates that he would be a good singer in this position. This creates tension. And what we really want to do when we're have good alignment is to have our bodies as free as possible. And there's not anything free about this particular stance. So this is not what we're looking for when we talk about good alignment. Excuse me. I actually like this terminology, a singer's stance. So if you're directors or choreographers, that might be a way to talk about alignment and posture, is to say, assume your singer's stance. Okay. The reality is that a singer's stance is really just good overall posture, good overall alignment. And it's something that we would benefit from doing in everything that we do. Um, when we have good alignment, it puts the body in the most comfortable and efficient stance. So there's not a lot of work going on. And there's not a lot of stress on joints. There's not a lot of stress on ligaments. It's in a really good alignment. It reduces tension. If we're standing really in a good singer stance, it allows our ability to breathe to be much greater. Okay. That flexibility, that ability to move from that stance is really important. And if you look at this person, this woman, she has an air of confidence about her as well. If she were standing slumped over, she would not look very confident. And as an audience member, we probably wouldn't be as engaged. She looks very commanding in this with this stance that she's in. So when we think about posture, we think about it often in terms of a fixed position. So when we say, this is the way I should stand, and then we tend to hold that position, and that's not what we really want to do. We want to be in alignment so that we can move. Position, the word posture is related to the word position, and it really just means the position of your body. So you can have good posture, bad posture. So we want to have good alignment, and it puts, again, the least amount of strain that we can have. If you think about athletes are in constant movement, and yet look at their alignment. They have great alignment no matter what they're doing. The soccer player's running, but she's not all hunched over. If she were hunched over, she wouldn't be able to run very well because she wouldn't be able to breathe very well. This ice skater, look at how straight her back is. It's in great alignment. Softball player, and it's Simone Biles. I mean, that's just perfect. Beautiful lines. And if she didn't have good alignment, she wouldn't be able. Her body wouldn't function in the expert way that it does. And certainly, bodybuilders, weightlifters really need to have good alignment. They would really hurt themselves if they didn't. So alignment and posture. We talk about static posture and dynamic posture. So static posture is a position that you would hold. Okay. And this is not what we want to do. It tends to be what we do on the risers, is that we get, okay, I'm going to get in my singer stance. I'm going to stand erect, and then we hold it really tight. And what we want to do is to be able to move. That this our singer stance is really our home base. So we can move from here. We can move as we do choreography and we come back through the home base, we can do something else. We can come back through our home base, so that we know what our basic posture should be. But even when we're standing still, there's movement involved. And we're gonna. I hope you're in a position that you can stand up and down, because we're gonna do a little bit of that today. Just thought of something. Oh, I know. Well, it's Jenny Morton. Again, I'm referring back to Jenny Morton, who was the guest faculty at the Director Seminar in 2019. Gosh, that seems a long time ago now. And she's a choreographer and a singer and a dancer. No, it's not a choreographer. She's a dancer, and she's an osteopath now. But she talks about working with singers and dancers, and that for choreographers, if they can choreograph like the most difficult parts of songs with the body in the most optimal alignment, they're going to get the best sound. So we don't want to have a big high chord when we're doing choreography, something like, like this, so we're all bent over. That's not the best. We're not going to get the best sound that way. So choreographers need to be cognizant of vocal production and body position. Okay. All right, so let's start with feet. Okay. And go ahead and stand up. Excuse me. All right. So first I want you to put your feet close together, like right smack dab next to each other. Okay. All right. Now I want you to lean as far this direction as you can. All right. Now lean that way as far as you can. Okay. So I don't know about you, but I can't lean very far with my feet together. Right. Okay. Now point right here, right at your panty line, right in the front here. This is where your hip joint is. Okay. So when we talk about hips, we're not talking about here. We're talking about here. Your hip joint is right in here. Okay. That's how wide is pretty optimal to have your feet. So now put your feet hip width apart and shift your weight. And then shift your weight back and forth. And back and forth. Good. Side to side. Yes. Okay. Now shift forward and back. Okay. While keep your trunk upright. So don't bend at your waist. Okay. All right. So side to side movement, much greater, right?
Yes.
All right. Now put your one foot slightly in front of the other, still hip width apart. You can still go side to side. Now go forward and back. Difference going forward and back. Okay. Yeah. So that's the reason you're able to move in more planes if you have one foot slightly in front of the other. Okay. All right. If you stand on one foot, I want you to feel what that feels like. What's happening with your leg and foot and ankle when you're standing on one foot? Somebody can come off mute.
They're wobbling.
Yeah. So your feet and ankles are making, and maybe at your hip as well, that you're making a little micro corrections to maintain your body position. That's perfectly normal. We want that to happen. Okay. And if you stand really close together, you'd probably have a little bit of that going on as well. I'm just going to say as a life practice that if you're over age probably 50, I would encourage you to do that every single day. Balance on one foot and then the other for about 30 seconds. And you will be ever so grateful as you get older. It's a really important skill to have, to be able, that's not balance per se, it's the muscles that create the strength enough to maintain your balance. Okay, really good. Yeah. I don't think you need to sit down just yet. Okay. Oh, darn it. I thought I put a slide in here. Shoot. Okay. Well, so let's talk about knees while we're standing. Okay. Mm-hmm. So knees just need to be not not locked.
Right.
For one thing, if you were ever in marching band, they told you not to lock your knees because you would faint, and that's probably what would happen. So not locked, but they also don't need to be like this. Okay? We don't need to be in a squat, a partial squat when we're singing. You just need your knees to be loose and free to allow movement. And we'll talk about how that's affected. We're going to talk about pelvis for a minute, and then we're going to get up and explore our pelvis as well. Okay, so if we think about your pelvis as a bucket of water, okay, or bucket that's filled with water, if you tilt your pelvis forward, so if you tilt your pelvis this way, forward, the water would fall out of the bucket, okay? If you tilt your pelvis backwards, the water would fall out the back. So we really want that pelvis just to be neutral, to be even, okay? If you go one direction or another, so stand up again, arch your back and tilt your pelvis forward, pour that water out the front. What happens to your knees when you do that?
They dip a little.
Okay, so that's bent. Does anybody's knees lock when they do that? Mine tend to lock. That's where mine goes. If I tilt forward, my knees lock. Okay, so doing one thing affects another. So if you have your knees locked, your pelvis is probably not in a good position either. Okay, so a lot of our literature said to tuck your pelvis.
Yes.
So do that. Really tuck your pelvis under, and what happens?
Well,
anything? Your knees are bending, okay? All right.
Yeah, but you're off balance.
Yeah, it does kind of put you off balance, doesn't it? Yeah. So stand with your pelvis in neutral and take a nice deep breath. Okay. And now tuck your pelvis under and take a nice deep breath.
Can't.
Okay, which one could you breathe better?
When it wasn't tilted.
Yeah.
Yeah, untilted.
Yeah, when it's in a neutral position, it allows you to breathe better, okay? So knees unlocked, pelvis, they go together, okay? All right, so let's look at one more picture of your pelvis because, again, what we do in one place affects what we do in another.
I love that.
So if you tilt that pelvis back, your chest comes forward. That's why you can't breathe as well, okay? If you tilt your pelvis back, then your chest is way overextended and you can't breathe as well, all right? But if your pelvis is in this neutral position, then your ribs are in a neutral position, okay? That's pretty important to know about how they affect one another. All right, so we have four curves in our back, and they are meant to be there. We are designed that way, okay? And when one part of our spinal column is affected, it affects the rest. So we want a cervical curve right here in our neck. We want that to be in our chest, right here, the thoracic curve, a lumbar curve we want in our low back, and then this is the sacropelvic curve there. We don't control that one so much. But the key is that they are supposed to be there. Okay, so we're going to see how different positions affect the spine as well. Okay. So if we just look at this gal here. So she has an exaggerated thoracic curve here. She has an exaggerated lumbar curve. She has an exaggerated, they're all exaggerated, okay? And it makes her not have very good alignment. If we were to draw her spinal column in there, it would look much like this. They would have those curves in it, okay? Shoulders are something that we mess around with way too much when we're thinking about alignment and posture. really our shoulders should just kind of be there. Okay, we don't have to do anything with them. So stand up one more time. I want you to just like shrug your shoulders up and just let them fall. Okay. Now do a little arm circle back and then let them relax. Okay. Now this time I want you to pull your shoulder blades together in the back. So pull them together and take a nice deep breath. Okay. All right. Now let your arms hang down and take a nice deep breath. Which one creates a better space to breathe? The second one, right?
Second one.
Yeah. So that's what we want. We want those shoulders to be relaxed. Sometimes you hear people say, "Put your shoulder blades in your back pocket" or something like that. And but you don't want to pull them down in there. Your arms just hang there. If you do a little exercise too, let your rib cage kind of come down and see where your arms go. They kind of hang forward, okay? If you just elevate your rib cage, bring that rib cage up like this, your arms just fall into place. So you don't have to think about how many of you have been around long enough to do that? What was it? Ape, human, performer? Yeah. So we really kind of need to stop in that human place rather than that performer place where we get all that tension in our back. Okay. That doesn't create good breathing and it doesn't create good singing. Okay. Good. Aren't you fascinating?
We are. Thank you.
Okay. So let's take a look at, oh, wait, I'm going to go back for a second. So right now we're going to take a look at our head and the relationship. I want you to point to the place where your head attaches to your spine. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so I'd see most of you pointing kind of back here. Yep. So I'm going to show you a picture here now. Okay, so most of you are pointing. I'm gonna draw on the screen because I can. So most of you are pointing right back here. Okay, well maybe there. So you see there's no bone there, right? This is actually where our head attaches. Right behind this is the weight bearing part of the spine. This is where all the action happens. No, not action. This is where the action happens, but this is where the weight bearing is. Okay, these are your discs. Okay, then when people say what do they do? Slip a disc or whatever the terminology is. So this is the bony part. Okay, this is where weight bearing happens, right down through there, and this is where, right behind your ear, is where your head attaches to your spine. So if you were to put your hands, like if you can imagine a rod through here. So we're going to go back to where most of the people were pointing. So right back here, put your fingers there and rotate your head around that axis. Okay. And then back down this way. Okay. All right. Now I want you to move right behind your ears and rotate your head over that axis. So does that feel different to you? What's different about it?
More motion.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead. Somebody else was.
It moved further and freer.
When you had it here?
When you had it behind the ear.
Okay, good. All right. And it kind of moves in a different place. If you do it back here, it tends to, for me, it tends to pinch. But if I do it here, it feels like there's some elongation there that happens. Okay. That's what we want. So it's a good visual for us to remember that this is where our head sits. It doesn't sit back here. Okay. All right, let's look at another photo. Oh, Wait a minute, I get to have to erase all this stuff, sorry. It's so fun to have all these little gadgets to play with. Okay. So if we look, the person on the right here has the better posture, the better alignment. And you can see the line going straight down from right behind his ear and through the shoulder down this way, okay? This one here has a forward head posture, and this is what we see so often. And especially when we sing, we see this. And you can see that how much compression there is. Do you see how close together these are compared to here? That it squishes down when your head is forward like this. But if it's up and elongated, then it allows that movement to happen. Okay. This is the one we want here. We tend to, well, here, let me show you one more slide. This is another head position one. So our heads weigh between 8 and 12 pounds. And you've probably seen this slide. It's really, it's a common one to show about, oops, wait a minute, erase. That, so it doesn't really, your head doesn't get heavier, but it puts more compression and more force on your spine. So you have 12 pounds of force if it's in good alignment. As you move your head forward, every inch, it's about 10 more pounds of pressure on your spine. So if you move your head forward a couple of inches, it puts that much more compression. And if it's way out there, it's a lot. And so that creates an imbalance. It stretches these, the forward structures, and it compresses the back structures. You can also see that when you change the position of your head, look what it did to the position of the thoracic spine. So he went for, darn it, come on, nope, draw. Oh, it doesn't want to do it. Well, he went from a position of having a normal curve in his thoracic spine to look at that. So not only get compression here in the neck, you get it also in your thoracic spine. So when we, as singers, when we sing, we tend, this was the one thing that Jenny Morton commented on about Sweet Adelines, is that not exactly understanding our stance, because we tend to do that aggressive or assertive one. And so we go from a good position, and then we do this. Pull our shoulders back, our head comes forward. And especially if we're emoting, we really want to do this. Okay, so I'm bent, I'm using good body mechanics here, but look at look at the head position of my head. And if I don't change the position, this at all, and I just stand up straight, that's where I'm looking up at the ceiling. And that's because my head is not in good alignment. Okay. So if you're going to bend down, your head still has to be in good alignment. We can't do this. Okay. That changes also the way you sing. So if I sing, it changes, right? Somebody else want to demonstrate that? Put your head forward, sing an ah, put your head in good alignment and sing an ah, and let's hear the difference. Got any takers? You guys are a shy bunch.
I am not shy.
Okay, now go for it. Okay. Good. So do it in good alignment. Just sing ah in good alignment. Your mic isn't all that great.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
Sorry. Somebody else take up for me.
Yeah, somebody else do it. Yeah.
Take over for me.
Come on, somebody.
I'll do it.
I heard somebody say, but I don't see you yet.
Andrea from Sony.
Oh, there we go. Okay. All right. Nice, good alignment first. Good. Now, yeah.
I feel like it squeezes, it like scrunches down, and I feel like I swallow it more. Where when I'm aligned, it just kind of flows out, and it's like, oh, that's like singing through my head too. It's awesome.
Yeah, yeah. And we can hear that difference. So why would you want to choose that forward head position? Because it makes a difference in your sound. It doesn't allow that freedom, and that just you just your voice just kind of came out, and that's exactly right. Perfect. Good. What a good demonstrator you are. All right. So this unfortunately is us a lot these days. It's especially, well, they say especially younger people, but I don't think that's true. I think that all ages of people, we tend to be on our phones a lot and looking down. So it's something that we have to just be aware of. We have to make sure that we are finding good alignment many times during the day, that we have to get out of that position, or else that will become our norm and our habit. Okay.
That's also true with computers and laptops.
We're getting
You have to have it up at a certain level.
Yep. I have a slide for that, actually. So if we were to look at various, this is not all the kinds of posture there are, but these are ones we see typically. So the last one, good alignment. The first one, she's hunched over. Her head is got that extra, it's forward. Her knees are bent, that's good, but her pelvis is probably tilted back. Okay, this one, her pelvis is tilted forward. She's way pouring her water out the front. And then that pulls her shoulders back. Okay. And this one tends to just sit back, put weight back on the back of her heels. So everything is shifted back. We didn't talk about when we talked about feet, that our feet are actually, we want to use our whole foot. We don't want to stand on the balls of our feet. We don't want to stand on the heels of their feet. We want to, really, the weight should be distributed through the midfoot. So you have weight on the front toes and you have weight on the heel. Okay. So unfortunately, this is where we are a lot since the pandemic is at the computer. And it's so imperative that you choose a good sitting position, because again, posture and alignment becomes a habit. So having a good lumbar support actually will help you to get in good alignment for the rest of your sitting position. One of the first things we used to do as therapists was give people a towel roll. So it was not even fancy, but just a rolled up towel, and put it right in the small of their back. You may not even sit back against the back of your chair in your upper body, and that's okay. I actually, mostly because I can't see the computer very well, I don't think I never sit back in my chair. And I always sit on the edge of my chair, and I sit at the computer almost all day long. So, but you have to make that choice that you're going to sit with good alignment. If you have good alignment in your back, your head is going to likely fall into place as well. So talking about where your computer is. So this guy's at a drafting table or something, but if you're looking down at your computer, you might think about elevating it on something. I have mine on a wire, like one of those dish things that you put in your cabinet that you put dishes on, the white wire things. That's what I have my computer sitting on, so that it's sitting up about that much higher than it would be. So I can look right at my computer instead of having to look down at it. And I would encourage everybody to do that. Find something so that you're looking straight ahead at your computer. Okay. I want to go back to head position again one more time. So when we're looking at head position, if we're not doing this, so this I actually,
Mary,
if you put your reading glasses on.
May I interrupt for just 1 second?
Oh,
there
yes.
was a question in chat.
Yeah.
About how do we not be sitting on the balls Whoops, you just took it away. Okay. How do we not sing on the
Oh,
balls?
sorry.
That's okay. How do we not sing on the balls of our feet when we
Oh.
are wearing heels for competition?
Okay, good question. Good question. So, there's a lot of discussion about shoes and what's right and what's appropriate. You can sing in anything you want to, but you have to be used to it. So, if you're going to sing in heels, you need to figure out how to position your body so that it's again in good alignment. Many times we put our shoes on right before we go out, and that tilts us way forward, puts us on the ball of your feet, it kicks in all those muscles in the back to try to hold you in a position. You may have to bend your knees just a little bit more. But being in flat shoes doesn't necessarily fix that problem. So if you're not used to wearing flat shoes, that's not going to be good for you either. So it's important that you practice in what you're going to sing in. If I had a choice, I probably wouldn't say choose a 6-inch heel. There's probably a really cute shoe that you can look really fetching in. That's not a 6-inch heel. You could probably find a lower heel, but wearing a flat shoe, part of our performance is visual. So wearing a flat shoe may or may not be visually what you want, but it also, if you're not used to wearing a flat shoe like a ballet slipper, that is not going to help you, because that's just as it throws you off just as much as wearing a heel. So if you can find a way to have some flexibility in your heel heights, that is probably ideal. You can still have shoe requirements, but maybe have different heel heights available. Yeah. So notice some courses are going to lower heels or flatter shoes, and that's fine. That's not a cure-all, but it may be helpful. So, but I'm not going to condemn high heels, because you can sing in high heels. And I'm not going to say that singing in barefoot or in complete flats is the best thing either. So you just have to know if you know these points that you're looking for in your alignment, then you should be able to find that in many shoe options. I probably just made some people really happy and some other people not happy. I'm just realizing that you probably can't see me. Here I'm demonstrating things, and you can't see me when I have my screen up.
We can see you in a little box.
In a little box, like I can see you. Okay. All right. So we're going to talk about I was going to show you about hang on a second. Alignment of your head. So I tend to be one of these ones that sings like this. With an increased curvature in the cervical spine, and not particularly great head position. And so I really want this to be elongated in the back, okay, my cervical spine to be elongated, and my chin to be parallel with the floor. So my eyes are looking out this way. And if I put on a pair of reading glasses, they really help me a lot when I read, but I can't see a thing out of them if I look straight through them. So especially in quartet coaching sessions, I will wear these, because I find, again, when I start emoting, I want to do this. And then so my head position is horrible. It's terrible. And then I'm looking through my reading glasses. But if I look over my reading glasses, then my head is in about the right position. Just a little tidbit, a little trick there you might try. Okay. And I have people that do it in chorus as well. That's their help for their body alignment. All right. So now we're going to talk about how alignment affects breathing, because they are so intertwined. That's the reason that we want, one of the main reasons that we want good alignment, and that is to breathe better. So if we just take a look at anatomy, so obviously that's his head. Okay. So here's, this is in your thorax, your, excuse me, your lungs and your heart are here. And then in your abdomen, you have your intestines, your spleen, your the pancreas, your stomach, liver, kidneys, all of that are down in your abdomen. And this little structure right here is the diaphragm. And that separates the two, okay? So it keeps your innards apart, okay? All right, if we're gonna look at the rib cage, we'll look at that first, okay? Oh, wait a minute. Wait. There, okay. So inside the rib cage are the lungs and your heart, your aorta, all that kind of stuff. So ribs in the back are attached to, let me see if I can write on here again. Okay. Oh, I see. Okay. So ribs are attached back here. No, oh, I don't want to do a line. I just want to do that. Okay. Are attached to the spine in the back. Then they come around. So here it's attached, comes around here, and then it turns into cartilage as it comes around the front. And then it attaches as cartilage to your sternum in the front. And that's part of what allows mobility. So you have a joint back here that allows mobility, and then you have the cartilages in the front that allow mobility. Okay. All right. So if I want you to point top and bottom, I want you to say where your lungs are located. Put your hands at the top of your lungs and at the bottom of your lungs. Okay. Yeah. So most of you are pointing somewhere in here to down. Yeah. So pretty much we can agree that this is where they end. Yeah. But take a look at this picture here. Oh, my great drawings. All right. So our lungs are actually come up above your collarbone, above your clavicles. So they're way up there. And they extend all the way down to the bottom of your ribs. Okay. So I just think it's a really valuable thing for us to know anatomically that our lungs fill up our entire thorax. They fill up that whole cavity. Our lungs are spongy. So when our chest is compressed, it pushes the air out. And when our chest opens up, it sucks air in just like a sponge would. If you squeeze a sponge, if you let it go, it's going to fill up again. That's exactly what our lungs do. When you compress them, the air goes out. When you let them go, the air comes back in. Okay. So again, our diaphragm is here. Diaphragm is not it's a muscle, but it's not under voluntary control. Like I can't say to you right now, contract your diaphragm, and you probably wouldn't be able to do that. You could do it if you breathe, but you it's not like make a muscle. You can't do that. So we're going to watch actually how the diaphragm works and what it looks like as it's working. So I hope that this video will play well. Oh, is it gonna? There we go. So watch what happens with the ribs. So the diaphragm is moving up and down. It as the diaphragm contracts. So like that. So if you had a ball, like just a rubber ball, and you cut it in half, and you pulled out on either side of it to tighten it, it would flatten. So that's exactly what happens with the diaphragm, is that when it contracts, it flattens and it goes down. That allows more space in your lungs for air. And then as you exhale, the diaphragm relaxes and the air goes back up again. I mean, yeah. So air sucks in, air goes out. Air is coming in, air is going out. And the rib cage goes in and out accordingly. I think it's cool to see it from underneath. So the diaphragm, again, attaches to all the ribs around here in the front. It attaches to your spine in the back. You can see it here in the back that it attaches. And then these holes here are for your aorta, your vena cava, things like that pass through from one cavity to the other. So I like that. I like that video a lot. When we look at, so this is another little video that we're going to watch. And what I want you to notice is the movement of the ribs. Okay, the ribs actually they don't just go in and out this way, but they do what's called a bucket handle. And so they go out, but they also open up this way. Okay, so and then they come back down. They open this way and come back down. Okay, so it's not just in out. Okay, and let's. Beautiful Zen music. So the sternum goes up as we breathe in. So I want you to watch the shoulder blades. What happens to the shoulder blades when this happens? Ribs up and out. Now watch the shoulder blades here, how they, as we breathe in, as we breathe out, they come in a little bit. As we breathe in, they glide out just a little. So again, we can't hold them there. Isn't that cool? So of course, as singers, our ribs don't, we want to keep our ribs out. We don't let them go in and out like we do in a normal breathing. We want our ribs to stay expanded and lifted for pretty much as long as we can. We don't ever want them to collapse completely, okay? This is another view of what ribs do. It shows really the up and out. But, oh, wait a minute. Wait. There. This would hurt a lot if your cartilage was separated from your bone. So that does happen to people, but it hurts a lot. So that's not normal. But it shows the up and out motion. All right, now I'm going to show you one more aspect of movement when we breathe in and out, and that is your thoracic spine. When we normally think about if exhaling, we tend to wait a minute. Let me unshare here. Okay, so we normally would think about our ribs if we were just to blow stuff out. Ribs go down, back hunches over, and then you breathe in, everything comes back up again. Well, as singers, we want our rib cage to be up and elevated. We don't want our rib cage to go down like that. And so this example here is going to show what an alternative for what to do with your back as you're breathing. Let me just get the right seconds here. I love all these animations. Oh, wait a sec. Wait. Share. Okay. Oh, don't do it again. I had this happen with a Okay, I'm gonna divert here for a second because I got the spinning circle. So I'm gonna tell you this and then I'm gonna show you. So when we breathe in, what we want the thoracic spine to, so we're in this position. So in Alexander technique, they call this the spine gathering and then lengthening. And we want the spine to gather a little bit as we inhale and to lengthen as we exhale, which is kind of the opposite of what we would think. You exhale, everything compresses. You inhale, it lengthens. But let me show you on, okay, on this ball here, and I hope you can see this. You might want to put me in speaker view. Or here I'll highlight myself. Put myself in the spotlight. Oh no, spotlight for me. Okay, here we go. So I want you to watch my this part of my back as I breathe in. Okay, and now I'm going to exhale. I'm going to inhale, and then exhale. So what I hope you're seeing is that when I inhale, my back is doing this. When I exhale, it's straightening some. Okay, let me show you one more time. And then exhale, inhale, and exhale. Okay, so it feels contrary to what we might normally do, but when you do that, so let's just stand up and try that. Okay, you could just stand. No, actually, I want you to put your hands on your knees. And I only want you to, this time, as you're breathing, when you breathe in, I only want there to be movement in your abdomen, only in the front, okay? Nothing in your back, okay? So breathe in and out a couple times. Okay, so you feel what that feels like, only in the front, right? Okay, that's abdominal breathing. That's great. We need to do that, okay? But we also need to include our back. We breathe in a 360-degree way. We don't just, it's not all just out in the front, okay? So this time I want you, as you're breathing in, I want you to gather your spine. So it's gonna bend a little bit. When you exhale, you're gonna straighten your spine some, okay? All right, so breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in and out. So were you able to feel that movement? Okay. So now I want you to translate that to being in an upright position. You can sit if you sit with good alignment, which you can do when you're sitting, and see if you can do that same thing in the sitting position. So breathe into your back, gather your spine, and then exhale, and it comes taller. Okay, breathe in, and then let it come taller. All right. Does that feel different and better, worse, one way or another?
It feels perfect, but not easy to do.
It's not necessarily easy to do. Yeah, because it's not something probably that we normally do. We focus a lot on abdominal breathing, which is absolutely great. I mean, if you have nothing happening in your abdomen, that's a problem. But if you add in that your spine, for one thing, what it does is it keeps your rib cage expanded, and instead of letting your rib cage collapse, it allows your rib cage to open up as you're exhaling. You're maintaining that open position as you are exhaling. So it's a really great tool to use, really.
I think it also gives you more air.
It does, because your space is bigger. Yeah, but it doesn't add tension either. It shouldn't add tension to what you're doing. I'm looking for. I do kind of want you to see this video because it's a kind of a cool video. So I had to restart my program here.
So it's more like you're breathing out through the spot above your spine on top of your head. That makes your back expand.
Yeah, because you're lengthening as you, instead of shortening when you exhale, you're lengthening your spine as you exhale. Yeah. Yeah. Let me see if this will play here. Let me do this. I got to get back into sharing mode here. Lots of clicks going on. Oh, there you are. Okay, let me see if this will play. If not, we'll just. Oh yeah.
Mary, you have less than 5 minutes.
Okay. No problem. We're almost done. Oh no, got the spinning ball again. Yeah, that's all right. You can look it up on the internet. It's really cool. But it just shows that movement of the spine in a little, so that you can actually see the anatomy of what's happening. To me, I always think that seeing anatomy makes a difference for me. So, yeah, okay. Well, so the last couple slides I have are mostly just about that how our bodies work as we do this, and that sponginess of the lungs makes it that there is a kind of a mechanical. It's not there is not kind of there is a mechanical reason for those your lungs to compress and open. And our job as singers is to keep that chest open, to keep it elevated, to allow as much air flowing in and out as possible, and to have it be effortless. When we are in good alignment, it should feel effortless. You shouldn't have to be gasping for air. It should just flow in and out. And the same thing with the movement. It should just flow and feel organic versus having to move in a particular way, because our bodies are ready for that.
And there is another question, Mary.
Yeah.
Nancy said, my shoulders are going up and down too. Is that wrong?
When you do what? Where's Nancy? Nancy, unmute yourself and.
Oh, sorry. Okay. So when I was doing that breathing with my spine and that we were just doing, so my shoulders are going up and down too. Is that wrong? Should my shoulders not be going up and down?
Yeah, you don't want a lot of movement in your shoulders. They may move a little bit, but if your shoulders are doing this, you're using accessory muscles. These muscles that's what does that. And those muscles interfere with your vocal production. So, so your shoulders should be at rest. They should not be really involved. They might move sort of peripherally, but just because something else is moving, but there shouldn't be a lot of this happening. Okay, our shoulder blades glide out only because our ribs are opening. So they just glide. We don't move our shoulder blades. They just go along for the ride. So, but it should be the same with the shoulders. They shouldn't be moving up and down.
Okay, I was doing it wrong.
Well, you can experiment a little bit more. So it's important from that we recognize that our posture and our alignment is so important. And too often we think about it at the beginning of rehearsal, and that's it. And really what we need to do is think about it about every 5 minutes in our whole life. And because what we do at rehearsal is not going to be enough. We have to have good alignment in our everyday functions and our everyday activities. That's what's going to promote good alignment when we sing. If we just put it on when we're singing, it's going to be hard work. And it's going to feel a little bit foreign. So until we get in good alignment, then we're probably it does feel like work, and that's okay, because you have to retrain your body to do that. So, and we talked about just doing this, about breathing. So when you're doing this, there should be activity here in your abdomen and in your back. But so actually, if you have your arms on your hands on your knees, there probably wouldn't be a lot of you can kind of ground your shoulders that way. So that might be a good way to practice that and feel it. Or if you have a therapeutic ball like I did, that's a good way to do it too, because you can really feel the expansion when you're on that ball. So good alignment is such, we can move, we can sing, we can do all kinds of things. It allows us the freedom to do all of that if we have good alignment. So are there any other questions or challenges? I guess I should always say that if you have a particular I don't know, health issue or something like that, it doesn't mean you can't have good alignment. It might be more of a challenge. And at least if you know the principles that you're aiming for, that is helpful. So, if you, I don't know, I'm just thinking, I always have somebody ask me about, well, I got a thing in my back, or I got a hitch in my hip or something like that. Well, that may be, but a lot of times trying to achieve good alignment helps to right some of those things too. So I think, you'll be surprised at what good alignment does for your overall well-being and your overall how well you feel. So I hope that you find yourself as fascinating as I do, because I just think the human body is such an awesome thing, and if we honor it and use it well, it will serve its purpose for us.
Thank you, Mary. This was great. Really good.
Thanks so much, Mary.
Thank you. I hope you can find some things that will help you.
Thanks. Have a great day.
It's been great being with you all. This is my last class, so I would just say thank you for having me today, and thank you all for being here. I am so impressed with your region and the education.